Bumpy, you ready to begin?
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about the fact that we just were spammed by bots. Okay. Welcome, jurors and spectators and everyone. I'm here to, let's just read that for 10 minutes. Minetown District Court, 1st District, Greater Spawn Region. The HOA of Spawn Estates versus the Estate of Balthazar Everrius, case number 3. This is a civil action. A lawsuit has been filed against the Estate of Balthazar Everrius, 103 Spruce Lane, Spawn City. The plaintiff is the Homeowners Association of Spawn Estates for blatant violations of environmental and building codes, construction of a legal reactor, and overall devaluing of the nearby area, seeking damages in excess of 100,000 MTC. Court date is today, May 3rd, 2020, and the district attorney is me, Bumpy Bob 007. Shall we begin?
Yes, we can begin this court case, and first I'm going to hand over the word to Bumpy Bob 007, who's going to present the evidence for the prosecuting side.
All right, so Everrius was given a lot to build a house in the Spawn Estates region, Spawn, which is located to the southwest of the courthouse. He did construct the courthouse. He did construct his house. That is true. However, certain other constructions were designed as well that kind of don't work for it. He originally intended on he received approval from the HOA to build a water softener because there were the water around his house was indeed contaminated due to prior experiments, some of which he may have done himself, had infected the local water supply and was causing the laws of physics to change around the area. He was approved for this. However, since that, he has continually, blatantly violated environmental codes. He has spurred up drama and damages and is just being a nuisance for everyone in the neighborhood. For example, let me pull up the evidence. I will be posting in the public chat on Discord the evidence. That is the first piece of evidence. He was not allowed to build a reactor. That was something very specific and very clear. He was not to build a reactor. As you can see by that picture in public chat, that is indeed a reactor that is located right under his house in Spawn Estates. Blatant violation of numerous environmental codes, a blatant violation of a directive by Spawn Estates when constructing the house. It is not legal for that to be there. Some other pieces of evidence were interesting reading material that was located in his house, several books which have been banned by the Greater Minetown Authority for just inciting violence and other things like it. I will upload a couple of them. There was an entire chest filled with stuff like that. Now, I ask the jurors, what reason would he have to possess those books? What reason?
Are we supposed to answer?
No.
Okay.
And that concludes my opening statement.
Okay, then we'll pass word on to the defending side, represented by Balthazar Everrius. Off you go.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, first, before I begin my rebuttal to Bumpy Bob's evidence, I would like to bring to the attention of the court that Bumpy Bob has not actually provided any proof that these materials were gained under warrant. In fact, it is my belief that these were illegally gained materials brought before all of you that have grossly misrepresented the facts and have not taken into account the fact that they are all out of context. Bumpy Bob does not have on his staff anywhere in the HOA a reactor expert, so he cannot positively identify that what he believes to be a reactor is in fact a reactor when it is really just simply a very robust garbage disposal system.
Garbage disposal?
All right.
He has mistaken several other items on the premise or the premises. He believes that a orbital mass driver, or that what is in fact a Wi-Fi antenna, is an orbital mass driver when it is in fact a multipole antenna. He also believed that there was a satellite connection system, which is in fact my TV, since I have satellite television. And in addition to that, has also totally misunderstood the context of my personal comedy library, which he believes to be books meant to be taken as literal material when they are in fact satire. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I would like you to consider if in fact Bumpy Bob is not digging for a case where there is none. No further comments, Your Honor.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are we within the constructs of the United States lawsuit?
No. This server, for one thing, is hosted in Canada. And number two, we do not follow the US Constitution. We do not follow Canada's Constitution. We follow Minetown rules and regulations.
Oh, okay. So can I point out that the prosecution made the damn rule?
That's good. Oh my gosh.
I have a question. My
Yes.
question is how secure is Everrius's house, and what is the possibility that these books were actually planted there by the homeowner association?
These were not planted there. These have been witnessed by multiple people. I would like to call a witness to the stand. I would like to call the court stenographer, NootNToot, to the stand.
Oops.
Okay.
Are we putting his job on pause? Is someone gonna take over?
Yes, he serves multiple roles. All right. NootNToot, I have a question for you.
Yes, what is it?
Did you witness these books? Did you see these books?
Did I see these books? Yes, I did see these books.
Did Everrius imply to you that they were planted, or did he seem to imply that he had them, he possessed them?
He implied that he possessed them for comedic reasons, is what he stated.
No further questions.
I'd like to
I
cross-examine
helped
the
you.
witness.
Okay. You may go ahead.
Now, Mr. Toot, is it?
Sure.
Now, I would like to have you state before the court whether or not, at the point in time in which you observed these books in their natural habitat, that they were not being shared to you in a spirit of mutual appreciation for the context of their material.
You're just showing me the books, so
Mhm.
yeah.
Now, did you find these books to be satirical and amusing?
Not necessarily.
Can you elaborate further, please?
They had very interesting titles to them, is all I can say.
So they didn't seem comedically overindulgent in any way to you? They seem to be strictly serious?
Yes, kind of.
Judging a book by its cover, Mr. Toot? Really?
If you're
No further
laughing when you
questions, Your Honor.
if you're laughing when you testify, doesn't that invalidate your testimony?
I'm the one
The jury,
laughing.
the jury is not.
I do have a question, Your Honor. May I?
Yes, of course.
So my question is, I am unsure if the homeowners association has standing in this case because A, the reactor core was never independently verified, at least that was not the evidence that was presented by the prosecution. And in addition, the prosecution has not outlined what were the actual damages, physical damages to the tune that they should receive a $100,000 reward to compensate them for said damages.
I
Yes,
will,
that is
I will
correct.
answer that. I will answer that question.
Yes.
So, Minetown has environmental codes that are there to protect the rights of the environment and of the people who live in the environment. A reactor being built in a residential neighborhood, such as Spawn Estates, is incredibly dangerous, and as just a small leak can cause massive defects and radiation poisoning and all sorts of nasty things. For example, Everrius himself once had a reactor that had a hairline crack in it that infected the entire neighborhood, entire Spawn region, and was a nasty pain to clean up.
Objection, Your Honor.
Yes.
The
This is awful,
prosecuting
America.
attorney here is calling attention to a long since closed case where fault was actually found with a member of the management staff for creating the hairline fracture in the reactor, and staff's own attempts to clean up the result of the reactor spill, of which I was not allowed to take place, went on for several months with no results until eventually myself and my firm were brought to bear to correct the issue themselves. This is simply an ongoing effort to care for the community and has nothing to do with the current case.
What do you say to that, Bumpy Bob?
I'm going to say that that story is a little bit wrong. First off, the staff member who caused that was not a manager at the time. You were a manager. He was not. He would later become a manager, but at the time, that is not how it went down.
I will accept that. At the time, the person causing the hairline fracture may not have been staff, but they were retired staff and a member of the server in good standing. In fact, actually, no. Now that I think about it,
they were staff.
They were
not
staff.
managers.
They were not a manager, but they were staff at the time.
But as a manager, they were actually under your preview during the time.
Various, you were a manager at the time.
I never authorized that member of staff to have any contact with the reactor whatsoever. I was unaware of the hairline fracture until after
And yet, it leaked
occurred.
and cracked. As
I
our
don't think
former
this
witness.
discussion is necessary to prove the dangerousness of a reactor.
Okay.
It seems like he's
Because the main
setting
issue
up
here-
a character case about Everest passing the buck and avoiding responsibility.
Your Honor,
And-
may I?
You're
Yes.
not supposed to make
I-
assumptions.
I do not feel that my answer, my question was answered adequately.
Oh,
My question was, what are the damages to the tune of $100,000 from the prosecution? Instead of, because yeah, if I'm not an engineer. I don't know how to identify a reactor. For all I know, that's a fancy microwave. However, that does not seem to be what is in debate here. My concern is that there was a monetary amount that was given by the prosecution with no justification for that monetary amount, and that's what I would like to know.
The amount was taken from the devaluing of nearby properties and environmental cleanup costs that would be expected from a reactor. We would like to call in a reactor expert. However, they appear to be delayed in getting here, and we've not received confirmation they will be here. So,
What was it?
So we have.
it was wanted to be after.
May I ask a question?
Yes, of
It's
course.
really sad. I'm actually sitting in my living room raising my hand. We have not had any evidence or any what do you call it? Expert witness saying that this is really a reactor.
Correct.
All right.
Okay, that's all I needed to ask.
I may ask the judge.
Hmm.
Do you have how familiar? Is Geyser up right now? Is he awake?
He shouldn't be.
Okay. I guess. After's the only one.
Bumpy. Your Honor, can I please move this court case forward and begin presenting counter evidence to the homeowner
Wait,
association?
no, sorry. We do have one. The prosecution would like to call Abelia to the stand. Talk about.
I'm a spectator in this.
Yeah, you're being called to the stand.
Yeah, they can do that.
An
They can
active
do that.
spectator.
Yeah.
Fair.
Did you
stand
ever
over
watch Judge Judy? Come on.
Would you really call me an expert?
I will mute myself and allow Abelia to unmute so that she can speak through her own microphone and present her testimony unimpeded.
All right. So, Abelia, how familiar are you with reactor constructions?
I would say I have about 8 years experience.
Would you say you are familiar with reactors constructed by one Balthazar Everrius?
Certainly.
Did you take a look at the picture posted in public chat at approximately the first one, and tell us if you believe that is a reactor of Everrius's construction?
That is a construction of his, but I wouldn't call it a reactor.
What would you call it?
That would be a master clock. It
A
is
mas-
a specialized circuit, but I wouldn't call it a reactor per se. It doesn't generate energy of any sort.
That is a master clock.
Please explain,
These are-
what does the master clock do?
It just simply controls output it receives. And it reduces it to a very controlled amount interval. In other
Would you
words,
s-
it really is just like his other Wi-Fi transceiver. I mean, there's not much to it.
I'm kind of confused here. What is it that's giving the extra energy so that their life goes up and they get additional jump?
Pardon?
Yeah. Yes, there is a beacon. There is a beam from a beacon in there. That produces power somewhere.
That doesn't require a reactor, though, wouldn't it? A reactor
What
would
is
be
it?
overkill for such a thing. And everyone has beacons everywhere, don't they?
So you are
There's plenty of beacons right out there.
You are convinced that is a master clock and not a reactor.
Well, it's truth be told, it's more of a garbage disposal.
I believe. No further questions. I believe.
Examine the witness.
You have
Yes,
to
you
unmute
can.
yourself, Everrius.
So I'd like to cross-examine the witness.
All right.
So, Abelia, as an expert in SSG construction techniques, what would you necessarily define? What would you necessarily define as a reactor?
Well, something that obviously generates energy through a rather violent reaction. Typically.
Now, is there anything particularly violent about the machine shown in that screenshot? Specifically, the machine in that screenshot.
Does it ever move? Does it ever expel any amount of energy? No, it doesn't seem to. Except when you throw trash into it. But it just burns trash.
Now, Abelia, off the top of your head, can you tell me how many other beacon beams you can see out the window of this courtroom?
That was a point I made in the previous examination. I will not care to make it again.
Very well. No further questions.
All right, then you're released, Abelia, or Mrs. GG.
I don't see any.
I would like to call Mr. Effect to the stand, but he does not appear to be here.
Does that mean we need a recess?
Let's take a 5-minute recess.
I'm not sure you're allowed to slap.
Okay.
Can you
your
slap
people?
witnesses?
Seems a little violent.
Intimidation.
If before we begin the recess, Your Honor, if
Yes.
I may make a statement, since I personally know After Effects, he is very often under the effects of something we colloquially refer to as time dilation. It may be several days, months, years, or even eons before After Effects emerges from said time dilation field. There is really no way of knowing when and where he's going to appear. I feel as if to hold up this court case for someone who has a record of time dilation occurring in their local vicinity, this is really slowing down a very simple process.
Since we've already established a set time amount that we're going to bone this, we will just have recess of 5 minutes, and if he doesn't show up then, Bumpy will have to come up with a different solution for a statement.
Very well.
All right, the court's postponed for 5 minutes.
Oh, I'm sure they could, but they're not gonna.
Your Honorable Judge, are you aware of any other possible reactor experts? Wait a minute. Finn, what's Finn doing? What's Finn doing?
It's Australia time. It's upside down right now.
Yeah, it's upside down time.
What, aren't they like... wait, how many hours ahead are they from us?
7:49 a.m.
They're about 14 hours away.
Yeah, it's like
Oh, okay.
early o'clock in the morning. I don't think Finn's available right now.
Finn probably just like pulled in all-nighter. He's
Like
probably awake.
7.
They're already in tomorrow.
Well, that's that. If it
Okay,
pleases the court,
so
After Effects presence at any point, I will tolerate and allow the change of hands. But I feel if he doesn't appear here by the end of the proceedings, it just is what it is. But I'm willing to allow him to testify at any point during my presentation of information.
All right, I have 2 pieces of evidence to bring forward. The first one, I'm not sure if you would be free with this, but we do have another reactor expert here. Some would say one of the greatest on the server. He is supposed to be impartial. He's supposed to be not be biased towards one side.
Good morning.
That's Finn.
Finn!
We have the reactor expert now.
Finn, are you a reactor expert?
No.
Wow.
Ooh, things don't look good for Bumpy here.
All right.
That's
All right,
unfortunate.
Next. Okay. Hold up. Well, actually, you know what, Finn? You might not be a reactor expert, but you are familiar with reactors of SSD construction, are you not?
I am.
Would you be able to identify one for us?
Sure.
Alright, come to the courtroom. If you scroll up in public chat, you will see the first image posted by me at, I'm not sure exactly it would be approximately half an hour ago. Yeah.
Oh.
Would you say that appears to be a reactor of SSD construction?
I'd go to say yes.
Yes, you would say it's a reactor of SSD construction. Who would you say builds reactors like that?
Looking right at him.
No further questions, then.
For clarification, Bumpy was right in front of you, Mr. Finn. Who were you looking at?
I was looking at Mr. Everrius before
Okay, thank you.
you walked in the way.
Do you mind if I cross-examine the witness, please?
Yes.
Mr. Dog, I would like you to speak to the rest of the court for a moment about your experience with reactors. How many have you constructed?
I've constructed none, but I've been thrown into many.
Now,
many reactors.
Now, Mr. Dog, as somebody who has spent a significant amount of time inside of a reactor as a unaware participant in the goings-on of the reactor, can you not say that you were 100% free of impedance or distraction that would allow you to identify the components of that reactor positively while you were progressing through it?
Objection, Your Honor. That is an incredibly confusing statement. I believe you are intentionally trying to mislead the witness.
Objection noted. Please continue, Everrius.
Let me restate my question then. How the hell could you see what's going on if you're being sent through a reactor, Finn?
I can see before I get thrown in.
Okay.
And you're dragging me towards the reactor.
Now, what you've been thrown into multiple times has almost every time killed you, correct?
Almost.
Now, in that experience, every time that it has killed you, it has disposed of everything as part of its process, correct?
Correct.
Almost like a disposal system.
I wouldn't call it a disposal system.
Were you and your materials handled by a waste disposal system as part of this reactor throwing?
It's a lot more painful than just disposal.
Your personal experience aside, what is the function of this device as you've experienced?
Sounds so groovy in the background. My experience has been very bad. It does destroy my stuff, but it does give me radiation sickness all the time.
The mechanics of this garbage disposal system are not what we're disputing today. I believe the witness has made it clear what this device actually does. It is a garbage disposal.
It's not a garbage disposal.
No further questions.
Mr. Dog, I heard you say something. Do you want to add something to your statement?
No thank you.
Okay.
Alright, the prosecution would like to call Everrius to the stand.
Okay, you can go, Mr. Dog.
Mr. Everrius.
Yes, sir.
What is Cherenkov radiation?
Just a second. Cherenkov radiation is electromagnetic radiation emitted when a charged particle passes through a dielectric medium. Basically, it's residual radiation from something that was at one point radioactive and is passing through a fluid. It becomes visible in the form of light waves.
Waves. Mr. Everrius, I would like to ask you a question. Is Chernikov radiation dangerous?
Chernikov radiation is extremely dangerous.
Is there any Chernikov radiation present on your property in Spawn Estates?
Well, as is outlined in the manuals behind my water softening system, spent exotic rubido from reactor functions does give off Chernikov radiation when submerged in containment fluid, yes.
Is this contamination open air? Is it open to the public? Can anyone see it and fall into it?
There is, in fact, a security shield over the pool that does not allow people to submerge themselves any further than a depth of 1 meter, at which point the Chernikov radiation is completely dispersed and is safe.
No further questions for Everrius. The prosecution would like to call NootNToot back to the stand.
Mr. Toot, please enter the
Yes.
stand.
Mr. Toot,
Yes.
has Everrius ever warned you about Chernikov radiation present on his property?
No, he has never once warned me about any radiation present on his property.
Really? Really? Are you sure about that?
I don't believe so.
Did he ever warn you about not jumping in the pool earlier today?
He did, in fact, tell me not to jump in the pool.
Did he seem to imply it would be still possible for you to jump in the pool?
I could jump in the pool, but he stated that I would not be able to swim down to deep depths of the water.
No further questions.
I'd like to make a cross-examination of the witness and also make a statement as a witness.
Of course you do. We'll start with the cross-examination. You may proceed.
So my cross-examination of myself is that the pools that are present on my property are in fact a critical aspect of the softening system removing rubido from the water table from the original reactor leak at spawn. This is part of the original deal made with the Homeowners Association. Now to cross-examine Mr. Toot, I would like to ask only one question for you about the pools that you were present at. When you looked at the pools, did you see several large collections of crystal towards the bottom of the pool?
Yes, I did see large red structures towards the bottom of the pool.
Were they submerged to a depth of greater than 6 to 8 meters?
I would say yes.
Could you access any of the space around those crystals?
No, I don't believe I was able to access any of those spaces around the crystals.
So would you say the safety mechanisms present in those pools would have kept you from going to an unsafe depth?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay.
The prosecution would like to call Rodney McKay to the stand.
No, not sure if that's legal or something.
You are a reactor expert, and you are supposed to be impartial. Therefore, I see no reason why to not accept him as a reactor expert.
I have a question.
Judge, do you accept yourself?
I think so.
Yeah, this is like judicial incest. I don't think this is allowed.
Honestly, I'll allow it if Mr. Bob. I'll allow it if Mr. Bob really wants to dig this deep for evidence. But honestly, I feel like he's making my case for me. So go. Knock yourself out. Good luck, have fun.
There are very few people who are more familiar with reactors on the server.
Yes, there are very few
Okay.
people, and none of them are on the homeowners association, which means this whole thing is a farce. Your Honor, I'd like to end this process of questioning and begin presenting my evidence, as I believe it.
No. Hold on. Objection. I will like to ask one question.
Bob
I
has
have a
called the judge
question as
as
a
witness.
juror. Hello.
One second. Bumpy Bob has called the judge into the witness stand, so he may now question the judge. But before that, Pond Lady has a question. Mrs. Lady.
I need to know how you're qualified as a reactor expert because I don't have any knowledge of this, and if you're going to prove it to me, I need to know.
I am familiar with the theoretical construction of a reactor. I have not built one yet, but as one can tell by my previous tech builds, I'm qualified enough to build one, and I have the technical expertise and technical knowledge to know of the functioning principles of a reactor, and that's why I'm qualified.
So you have technical knowledge, but not practical knowledge.
I also have practical knowledge, but I have not implemented it on this server. My practical knowledge is strictly from other servers, but since the same physical rules of the Minetown space-time of the Minecraft space-time continuum apply, I would say that I could it's very well within my grasp to just build a reactor on here.
If I may make a statement on Rodney McKay's behalf, the only person who I would consider to be a greater authority than Rodney McKay on reactor technology would be After Effects. His credentials are valid. I can verify them.
Now, Mr. McKay,
Thank
what are
you.
your thoughts on the construction that has been found underneath Everrius's estate? Would you say it appears to be a reactor of Everrius's construction?
I would say from the outer appearance, yes, it seems like a reactor of SSG construction.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Am I correct in assuming that Miss Everrius would like to cross-examine the witness?
I have no interest in cross-examining. I'd like to move on to the important parts of the trial.
Okay, then I'm gonna...
I would like to also bring one more piece of evidence to the stand. Or, more so, it was determined earlier that apparently that a beacon cannot itself be a reactor. However, I'd like you to consider something. What is a beacon made from? It's made from a nether star.
Yes,
nether
it is.
star. Star. Stars. Stars. How do stars produce energy? They do it through fusion reactions.
Objection, this is pseudoscience.
This is real. You look on any piece of evidence about stars, you will
False
find that
equivalency. You cannot prove that another star is in fact a fusion reaction.
it is a. Then where does the energy come from? Huh? Where does the jump boost, and speed boost, and mining boost? Where does that come from? It's energy of some kind.
Minecraft magic.
You have three
There's no
reactor
such thing as magic.
experienced individuals in this room. Two of them are professionals on the subject. I don't think this is a viable line of questioning.
No further questions.
Even if a reactor was, even if a beacon was a reactor, you have allowed beacons previously to be placed in the spawn courtyard, so I think we can safely assume that those are very well within the compounds of the Minetown environmental regulation. So we have to conclude that beacons are not reactors or do not fall under the restrictions of the Minetown environmental regulation.
I should have got more music before this.
Yes.
Can we please proceed to the presentation of counter evidence?
Is the prosecution finished with its statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, then you may present your evidence.
So the defense would like to present several pieces of documentation. First of all, physically to the jury so that they can see it instead of simply be told that it exists through screenshots. Do you mind if I present it physically to the jury?
No.
Field trip?
Woo, field trip.
Oh, that's not a field trip.
In your hands are several pieces of documentation that license me on the operation of any and all equipment that Bumpy Bob has mentioned.
I didn't get one.
Well, go ahead and pass around amongst yourselves.
These aren't colorful. I don't know if they're real. Who certified them?
I believe in multiple instances they were certified by members of the Minetown Spawn Authority, which, as you can see here in this document, is a petition that allows
You believe or you know?
I know this to be the case. The document now in your hand, Miss Haley, contains the signatures
I am
of
not Miss
individuals.
Haley.
I'm sorry. What would you prefer I address you as?
Miss Daddy.
Miss Daddy. Miss Daddy, if you check the document in your hands, you will notice it is a group of signatures ratifying all of the documentation in your hands, clearly stating I am authorized to perform these kind of industrial operations as part of my service to the housing authority.
I believe there's a forgery on here. But
Objection,
I'm
Your Honor.
sorry.
Objection, Your Honor. I would like to review the evidence. I feel like I believe I know what piece of evidence he's talking about. And yes, I do believe I have signed it. However, I don't know if that's if the implication was for him to build industrial machinery at his spawn estate.
We have an intruder.
I would like
Security
see
in the courtroom.
the evidence.
Who invited Grammy the Clammy?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, they could come. It's an open case. I would like to see. Okay.
Okay, well they're holding a sword, so I'm gonna stand over here.
I would like to see Everrius prove the link between a garbage disposal in his basement and economic stimulus.
The nature of which the machines that I run do economic stimulus and the court case that claims them to be something they're not are two entirely different fields of study. Am I not in the process of cleaning up the Spawn suburb water table?
Sure.
Does this not require the use of advanced disposal technology to remove it from the premises?
That economic stimulus. This was passed
By
around after
improving by improving the ecological stability of the area.
The water softener was constructed before that petition went around.
But in your own writing of a court summons that you rescinded, you attempted at the time to block the creation of the water softener. In this court summons, which I will now provide to the jury.
The court summons has been provided to everyone.
No, this is a second court summons from the beginning of the month of March, where Bumpy Bob, as a member of the HOA, the sole acting member of the HOA, has attempted to block this economic stimulus multiple times.
Objection, Your Honor.
Yes.
This was agreed to. These are previous debates that were since agreed to. It was agreed to let the construction of a water softener. I will also add, could one of the jury members please read who has signed that document? The economic stimulus document.
Who has it?
Yeah, I don't have it.
I don't have it either.
Yeah.
Oh, I have it.
It's
Here
not
it is.
signed at all.
Check the second page.
Signed by Finndog, Geezer, Rodney McKay, Zoom, Bumpy Bob 007, MatthewIsAnApple, and the assassination.
The prosecution would like to call Mrs. Daddy to the stand.
Are you allowed to call the jury to the stand?
We can call the judge to the stand. We can call the jury to the stand.
This is a weird country.
Yes.
Kill law.
Some would say that the managers can decide everything that goes on.
Okay.
Mrs. Daddy,
Yes.
do you believe it is accurate, everyone who has signed that document?
I do not believe it is accurate.
Whose signature do you believe is inaccurate?
Zoom's.
And why so?
Well, we own a property together, and we discussed that he would only allow his signature to be put on if I also put mine on there.
Was your signature on there?
It was not. It was forged at one point by Everrius, but he removed it.
Forged, you say?
Yes.
No further questions.
I'd like to
Allegedly.
cross-examine Miss Daddy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, Miss Daddy, can you prove that your signature was on that document?
I forgot to take a photo, but, I asked you to remove it, and you did.
Now, how do you think Zoom's signature got onto that?
You wrote it. I was there.
Well, you've established that when people asked to have their signatures removed from it, that the signatures would be removed promptly and immediately.
It wasn't immediately, but yes.
Well, I'd like to just take this moment to ask, do you at any point see other signatures that could be present in this courtroom that could testify their signature was written by their own hand?
Well, I mean, there's Bumpy and Rodney.
Now,
Your Honor?
Bumpy,
I'm Finn.
can I call you to
never-
the stand, please?
Yes.
Are we sharing the stand, or do I
No,
get to
you
leave?
can
No.
you go ahead and leave. You're good.
Miss
Ah,
Daddy, you
great.
can leave the stand.
Now, Mr. Bob, did you place your signature on that book?
I did.
Did you do it under duress?
No.
Would you like to cross-examine yourself?
No.
All right, please leave the
I-
stand. And I call.
Well, actually-
Finndog
He was
91.
talking. You can't
Oh,
decide.
hold on. I would
he
like
said
to
he
make
was done.
one statement.
Then by
Sorry,
all
I would
means.
like to make one statement.
Sure.
I signed that document. However, I am certain that Haley is telling the truth about you forging her signature and Zoom's signature. I was present for many of these conversations.
Well, of course. Otherwise, you wouldn't have called her.
Hello.
It's kind of redundant.
Yes.
I will leave now.
I'd like to call Finndog 91 to the stand, please. So, yeah, I'm going to turn off environmental sound as well because that is obnoxious. So, Finndog, did you place your signature on that petition?
I didn't handwrite my signature.
You did not handwrite your signature? Are you sure?
I did not lay a finger on that document.
You're sure?
I am 100% positive.
Okay. By the way, just as an offhand question, Finn, how's your reactor project at Spawn coming?
I need to get it approved. I want to get it approved before
But
anything else proceeds.
did you present your plot to Bumpy as having a reactor on it when you first purchased the plot?
Not as of yet. I was going to mention it to him when I actually have a design done and prove it's safe.
Please leave the stand.
The-
I'd like to
Excuse
call
me?
Bumpy Bob back to the stand.
Excuse me, Bumpy Bob might want to cross-examine Mr.
Oh,
Dog.
yeah, by all means. Sorry, I apologize. Finn, go ahead.
Back to the stand.
Yeah.
Finn, what were you saying? So you would not construct the reactor until you had approval from Spawn City. Is that correct?
Correct. That is correct.
No further questions.
All
I would
Mr.
like
Dog,
to
You can leave
I would
now.
like to present one further piece of evidence that has been granted to the prosecution.
The defendant is at the moment presenting evidence. You can present your evidence after Everrius has presented all of his. Mr. Everrius, please continue.
Mr. Bob, could I bring you back to the stand for a moment, please?
Yes.
Now, could you provide to the court in writing where it says that no reactors can be built at Spawn suburb?
That document. There is not that document. There's no set document that states that. However, this was a very clear indication to you and to anyone building on Spawn Estates.
Now, were you aware that Finn was going to be constructing a reactor on his property?
For all I know, that's a hole in the ground. I'm not a reactor expert.
Hold the phone. So in your charges, blatant violations of environmental and building codes, construction of illegal reactor, and overall devaluing of. So if it's not in writing, where is it?
It's in writing somewhere.
Nah. Try again.
This is
Bumpy
not
Bob may
United
now cross-examine himself. No further questions.
Oh, okay.
May I bring some more evidence to the stand?
I'd like to make a closing statement on my case, and then I will allow it.
Yes. Can proceed, Mr. Everrius.
Now, ladies and gentlemen of the judge and jury, it has been proven very clear that Bumpy Bob has not only created a very lax set of standards, but that they're not even being applied evenly. That Bumpy Bob himself has on multiple occasions bent the rules for people that he wants to be doing certain things and then looked the other way so as to allow them to keep doing what he wants them to do, regardless of whether or not it's breaking his own verbal rules. However, this entire court has been case after case after case of flimsy evidence proving that I'm supposedly doing things I'm not, tracing its roots all the way back to a case that occurred earlier this year in which Bumpy Bob tried to make the same accusations and they didn't stick. This is a defamation attempt on my person. No further statements.
I would like to present one other piece of evidence.
Yes, you may do so now.
I want you all to look in public chat again. Now, ignoring the low quality of that image, Everrius has been trying to claim that it's based on flimsy evidence, accusing him of stuff he's never done. There's no proof. I don't know. That sure looks a whole lot like proof that he's forging stuff. Wouldn't you agree? I don't know. I would like to call Everrius to the stand.
What's up, Judgy?
Excuse me.
Am I going to get gavelled? Oh, please gavel me. This is going to be great. Ow. Please proceed.
Mr. Everrius.
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on the image in public chat currently?
Considering the flexible verbal nature of many of the agreements surrounding Spawn City, being given verbal authorization to put somebody's signature down on a document, then have it rescinded later, is an understandable miscommunication, and had Zoom contacted me directly to have the signature removed, it would have been removed immediately.
How would he be aware that it had been signed? I mean, he never looked at it. He never agreed to sign it. He didn't see his name on there when he looked at it.
In the spirit of Minetown's ongoing verbal laws and statutes, I told him.
When?
Multiple times over Discord. In fact, in your presence, Haley.
I have a question for the judge.
Yes,
As someone who is a relative newcomer to this, in this server, are verbal agreements considered binding? Or do they have to be written in nature to be binding and upheld in a court of law?
To be binding in a court of law, piece of evidence must be in written form. It cannot be in verbal form, no.
Okay, so to uphold environmental laws, those environmental laws then must be in written form to be upheld in a court of law as well.
I'd like to cross-examine the judge, please.
Wait a minute. Back up.
No
No.
objections.
We can't just keep going after that. That's a point. That's the same point I
No.
had.
Hold on. To make a statement about the structure of Minetown's government currently. At the end of the day, managers have the ultimate discretion over everything.
Yes, that is correct.
That is correct. Therefore, if we state something to someone, that is the law. We are the law.
So Everrius is not considered a manager?
No, Everrius is not a manager.
Okay.
I would like to cross-examine
Who?
The judge,
the
apparently.
judge.
Yes.
As a manager yourself, Mr. McKay, would you
Yes.
tell me in all seriousness that managers have absolute power over everything in this server?
Yes, I would.
Then where's Mr. Bumpy?
What the? Whoa! Hold on!
I would like to make a statement to the rest of the court now that Mr. Bumpy does not exist. I would say that the managerial staff, are not
Hold
to command
on.
total control. Ergo, written agreements must be made in order to secure the server. And clearly, they cannot do that by verbal power alone.
I am taking damage here from his construction, which I believe is the reactor itself.
It's a garbage disposal. I'm getting rid of your trash laws.
It's not. Sure.
Everrius,
Where
it
did
may not be a
Abelia
good
go
idea
as
to be
well?
adding criminal prosecution to a civil courtroom. Thank you.
He doesn't have it in writing.
I think you know very well that managers could obliterate everything you got if they wanted to.
Ah!
While
Yes,
that
is
is
a formal
true,
statement.
while that is true, I have asked after things, and he will tell you, I can't make that decision by myself. I have to consult the rest of the managers.
Yes, but there are 2 of 3 managers here, so.
Yeah, I'm just saying. They stated that their rules or laws, what they say is a law, but then on the other hand, evidence is shown that it's not.
Is she dropped?
Hello?
There you are.
Yep, there you are.
I didn't go anywhere.
You dropped for a moment.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, evidence shows through time that, we've dealt with these people that it is not necessarily true.
It was the defense. The defense has been. The prosecution would like to call Mrs. Daddy to the stand.
Oh, I'm back.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Mrs. Daddy,
Hold on,
you
not
are
in the chair yet. Okay, hello.
You are a member of SSG, are you not?
Depending on the day, yes.
So you are familiar with SSG construction and technology. Even if you don't understand how it works, you are familiar with what it does.
Are you saying I'm not smart enough to understand how it works?
No. I'm just stating.
Hypothetically.
He's being mean.
No, Mrs. Daddy.
Yes.
you are aware of technology that can do what Everrius just did, right?
Oh, very much.
Pluck someone from. Would you say he intended that to happen during this court case?
Yes.
Really? Please,
Very
please,
much.
please detail what was planned.
Well, I would say about a week ago, I found a switch in Red Lab, and it said "Don't touch," and it had some hee-hees, and I touched, and nothing happened, and I was very scared because with Everrius's technology, things happen right away. So I ran away, and I told him about it later on, and he explained to me that it was to grab you, well, only at the court case, or the courthouse, sorry, my bad. And he had also laid out in detailed messages at the beginning of March, actually, on how he was planning on having you pulled from the court case whenever it would happen, as he's been waiting for this. And he was going to argue that you didn't exist, so the court case couldn't happen.
Objection, that sounds ridiculous.
I have the messages.
Miss Daddy, before you post evidence of the messages, I would like to ask a question.
Mhm.
Are you aware of how big the radius that it would be in effect? Like,
Yes.
was it the entire courtroom, or is it just
The whole
one?
courthouse.
Okay, just no further questions, but please post your evidence.
Okay, I will post it in public. I much apologize. Everrius talks a lot. They're really long.
We
No
know.
objections. Objection, these messages are clearly edited.
I would
We can
argue
do
that
that
nobody
one
talks
assignment.
like you.
Listen, if any of you can glean something of actual value out of those messages, by all means, feel free to tell the court what it is.
Sorry, one more question, Haley.
Mhm.
So, from these messages, it seems to imply that he wanted to Mandela affect me.
Yes, he wanted you to no longer exist. As
And
you know, the first line says,
the implication was
"Planting
that I would.
cease to exist."
The implication was that I would never exist. Correct?
Yeah.
Are you aware of who built this courthouse? Do you know who did?
You?
The
Question mark?
road out in front. Who built that?
You did.
Who cleared the land of Spawn Estates and turned it from a noob-ridden hellhole into the vibrant community it is today?
I don't know if I'd say vibrant community, but you did it.
Who built the highway outside?
The only person who builds highways on this server. You.
No further questions.
Whereas, would you like to cross-examine the witness?
Yeah, sure. Miss Daddy, did any of these events happen?
I mean, you did just pluck him out of the courthouse.
Did he cease to exist?
Well, yes.
Did
for
he
a few minutes.
I would argue that it's not that he ceased to exist, merely that a demonstration of the technology as a garbage disposal was demonstrated for the court and made clear that it's not, in fact, a reactor. He didn't cease to exist, he simply changed places. Nor did at any point any of his constructs cease to exist. All of this seems to be some wildly contrived story that Mr. Bob has just put on display for the court to flagellate his own ego, as if somehow the things that he's done somehow justify telling this ridiculous story. So, with all of that in mind, can you tell me honestly that this has anything to do with whether or not that machine is a garbage disposal?
Are we saying it's a garbage disposal?
It is a garbage disposal.
Yeah, but have we confirmed that?
Well, seeing as 2 out of 3 reactor experts in the room can confirm that it's a garbage disposal, I'd say yes.
What about the time I built a hobo house on it and you said, "Get your hobo house off my reactor"?
Objection. The witness is clearly going off topic.
Objection. Objection.
Do you
Some
just
of these
object to the
reactor,
objection?
some of these reactor experts, these reactor experts who do not believe it is a reactor, are not certain that it is a garbage disposal. They seem to just, some of them seem to just say it might be one, could be a type of one. Do you have any garbage disposal experts?
Your Honor, is he serious?
I think he is.
Seems like a fair question.
Yep.
Can you prove that it is a garbage disposal?
Yes! Yes, I can!
Well, then do.
Pardon me for just a moment. I didn't think I was going to have to actually go get the label off of the machine.
Dude,
Anyone can stick a label on it.
Your Honor, I do believe it is the burden of evidence lies on the prosecution, not the defense. It's the defense is not to prove themselves innocent. It's up to the prosecution to prove them guilty.
I don't think labels count anyways.
Yes,
I could
that is
stick a
correct.
label on Various and call him an idiot. That doesn't make him an idiot.
Well, it actually, yes, it sort of kind of would, but that's beside the point. Also,
except for if you have an expert witness and they say it's one thing, and then the defense is claiming it's a different thing, you would have to have your own expert witness that explains why it's the other thing.
Well, yeah,
That's
since
fair.
it's a Various' claim that it's a garbage disposal, so he has to prove that it is indeed a garbage disposal.
Bailey, can
He's
you
not
please go
trying
down to the garbage disposal and get a screenshot of the label?
I believe that would be up to the judge to allow.
Judge, can you
Well,
allow
you're a
my...
spectator. You can do that.
Whatever. All right.
Wait, Abelia, why are you in Codabury?
Because she got thoroughly lost trying to find the reactor. So,
You mean the
can I please call Rodney McKay to the stand, because it's happened twice, and he's the only person who can verify this.
Hang on.
I hate doing this, man, but...
Again.
May I make a statement?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Real quick. Did you just call it a reactor?
What did I just call a reactor?
You said Abelia got thoroughly lost trying to find the reactor.
Yeah, she went looking for a reactor, not the garbage disposal, and she got thoroughly confused.
But you sent her to go prove it was a garbage disposal,
Yes,
but
I
you
did
referred
send
to
her
it
to go
as a
prove it.
reactor.
No, she got
referred
lost
to it as
looking
a
for a reactor.
Yes, because I was trying to find a reactor, not a garbage disposal.
Did you not hear where she said if I could find the reactor on top of this thing, which there isn't one, obviously
That's why I
she
couldn't
wouldn't have
find
been
it.
able to find it. She was clearly confused. Can we just move past this, please?
Does Abelia herself have anything to say to this?
By all means.
If I'm being called to the stand, then yes.
Well, yes. Can go over that. Don't like it in there anyway.
Questions?
Were you looking for a garbage disposal?
I was looking for whatever you were talking about, but honestly, the garbage disposal is very subtle. It is very streamlined. I usually actually have my own garbage disposal units that are very similar. I was looking for a reactor by mistake because they are much more noticeable.
Objection, Your Honor.
Yes.
That is an extremely common type of garbage disposal. The most common type of garbage disposal, as determined by Minecraft Magazine, is a simple lava construction that is with 1.5 high block around it, so that you can walk up to it and throw a
Sir,
block into it without.
I could burn myself just looking at it. Lava is incredibly unsafe.
And also, objection, nothing SSG does is simple.
Yes, I would have brought up the same. I think
Also
we
not
have
as
to reject
aesthetic.
this obligation.
The judge go down to the stand. Can I just ask?
Avarius, we cannot hear you.
Oh, that's I'd like to ask you a question, Mr. McKay. I won't make you come down to the stand, but I just want to ask you a question real quick. Are those labels or are those functional components of a craft book system?
Those appear to be functional components of a craft book system.
So they're not simply signs that say things, but they actually do things, right?
Maybe.
Objection. Objection. Well, actually, I would like to cross-examine the judge again.
Yeah.
Those are functional pieces of a craft book system, yes, but they can be whatever. They're frequency, correct? They can be whatever.
Yes, their frequency can be varied.
I would like to also bring one more piece of evidence to the stand.
Yes.
Labels can be whatever. Anyone can stick a label on something and claim it's that. Like, I stuck a sign on this wall.
Put a sign on Everest that he's an idiot and see if he's still an idiot.
I would be an idiot with or without the sign, let's be fair.
If I stuck a sign up that said Joe's ice cream cones on this building and claimed that this was an ice cream stand, would that be correct? Is this an ice cream shop?
Objection. We've already established those are not simply signs, but are actually functional craft book components.
They are frequencies. They can be whatever, as long as they just determine what other sign connects to them.
Just because a component of something can be labeled as a component of something doesn't make it something else because you want it to be.
Those can be whatever. You could put a 1 on the sign, and if you had a 1 in that same location on the receiving end, or the transmitting end, they would connect. That's all that
Objection,
matters.
Your Honor. The prosecutor is dragging out minutia.
I'd like to present a closing argument.
Yes, you may do so.
Everrius has repeatedly been shown to have been building dangerous machines underneath his house, and he has refused. Like he still is trying to claim that he is being misled with false evidence or stuff like that. And repeatedly, his own members of his same group, the same members of the group he's involved with, SSG, have pointed out that it appears to be a reactor. It's pointed out that he lies. He has been repeatedly lying about what the function of everything is. I think it is very, very clear that his reactor violates environmental codes and that he should need to pay $100,000 in damages along with the deconstruction of the reactor.
Okay, since that was your closing statement, Mr. Everrius, would you like to make a closing statement as well?
Your Honor, I already made my closing statement. This is defamation.
Okay, then I think we have all the evidence, and we're just gonna recess and access the evidence, and we'll rule shortly.
Jury in the jury deliberation room. Y'all are free to go into either lobby or music or events to determine. Or members of the jury, please leave to go to another voice channel to deliberate on the evidence. And once you have made a decision, come back.
Okay.
Jury, what is your judgment?
Okay, the first two, the violations of environmental codes and building codes, we found innocent. The construction of an illegal reactor was guilty. Overall, devaluing the nearby area is dismissed. We recommend that the damages of $25,000, since y'all are all insane, and one of them was guilty out of 4.
Okay, then
Was that accurate?
Correct. The original
Thank you.
penalty was supposed to be 100,000. There were 4 separate claims the prosecution was making against the defendant. Because the jury dismissed 3 out of 4 of those claims, we felt it was fair that the penalty for the remaining claim would be 25% or 25,000.
All right, then it is the ruling of this court that Balthazar Everrius has been charged and trialed with building a reactor in Spawn City and has to pay 25,000 MTC to the Homeowners Association at Spawn. Yeah, damn
I
it.
love it. Let's go get pizza.